Okay. Welcome in, weekend rotation, folks. We are here to recap an awesome set of games last night and a great start to the Supers. Jake, AJ, how we doing, fellas?
Doing
I'm
good.
on cloud nine. Yeah, I was gonna say a little exhausted. I feel like I just did like a P90X workout just with how the game was, with the amount of high leverage situations at the Aggie game. But glad the ending was good.
Yeah, what a way to have the last game of the day again. We've had some really good ones. Stanford ending last weekend with the regionals going crazy. A&M starting off this weekend. Let's go. Let's get into it though. Let's see. So we had the first game of the day. Yesterday was Texas ECU. We were graced with a 7-13 win for ECU there. AJ, what did you see most in that first game there for Texas and ECU?
I saw for Texas, they need Lucas Gordon to go deep today. Pete Hansen only going 4 is the opposite of what they needed. They need, we know Texas has 2 really good starting pitchers and then a guy in a bullpen who they can trust, maybe another arm who they can throw out there. And so throwing 6 pitchers yesterday, not the recipe for success for them. ECU can do that because their starters go 5 and then they just piece it together. It was an absolute slugfest, one of the most entertaining games I've seen in a long time, just back and forth. It was, diving catches, home runs knocked over the wall. It was exactly what you want to start the Super Regional.
Yeah, if you're in East Carolina, that is how you wanted to start this thing off. And then, the jungle got to them. The jungle got to those guys that couldn't communicate in the outfield, and they knocked a ball over the fence for a solo home run. That was crazy to watch that game. The excitement level. I have to say that out of all the games, that one was probably the most entertaining as far as a fan aspect because those guys were crazy down there. Jake, what do you see here from ECU Texas moving forward? We know Hansen had a bad start, not typical for Texas. How do they get back in this thing?
Yeah, it almost felt like he was due for a bad start just because he kind of has been the only common person in Texas. It seems like outside of him, it's really like 50-50. I know that they have that lefty who's kind of come on here late, but there was a time where he really wasn't there. But I know Texas ended up losing, but we got to talk about that Ivan home run where he hit it like 600 feet. I don't think anybody even in the crowd moved. That's how far he hit it. It was insane.
That was like the sound of Griffin Dorsching's home run. It was unreal.
Yeah. It's great when the outfielders don't even flinch, and then none of the crowd even moved. That was like you were saying, Jake. None of the jungle even looked. They didn't even look up at the ball. It just was flying over the trees and into the parking lot, 475 feet past the ballpark. I could not believe how far he hit that ball and how easy that swing looked for him. And then, you look, Staley hits 2 home runs too, and Texas can't even be in the ball game. Like 7-13 lost there when they get some power from their dudes. I think they need some more help at the bottom of the lineup to get going. I think that they got to get a good start today. Mayhew, let's go on that side of it, though, for ECU. He was outstanding. He was electric. 9 strikeouts, 5 innings pitched, just the 4 earned runs, and 2 of them were from that home run from Staley. But what does ECU do here to just stay in this thing, AJ?
I guess just trust their process. Trust that their offense is going to work. Trust that their pitchers can go out and give them quality innings, and trust that they have the pitching depth to be able to, you're not going to shut down a lineup like Texas. You can keep them in the game.
Yeah, that's fair. I like you're looking at Worrell, Sterling, Jenkins Court. They got guys. They got guys that can hit, so they can hit with Texas. They don't have as many hitters, but they have enough there. And like you said, they have a better bullpen. Jake, does that bullpen moving forward scare you if you're a Texas fan?
I think it does a little bit, and I was kind of weird because it felt like Pierce was almost playing for a low-score game, having Dylan Campbell in there instead of Eric Kennedy, and then pulling it late when it kind of got into the shootout. That was the only thing that kind of questioned me from it. But if you're a Texas fan, you have to feel really good that you got 7 runs in kind of that first game, because Texas almost is set up for that game 3, where the bullpens are all dead. They're throwing this freshman who maybe had 2 innings all year, so you do kind of have to feel good there, but. Man, that was a tough game for Texas fans to watch, with Hodo hitting it over the wall, the jungle really never letting up. It seemed like just one thing after another. Every time Texas would fight to get back in the game, ECU would throw another haymaker and knock him out.
I know me personally, I picked Texas to win that first game. I thought that they would come in with Hansen. I thought he'd be enough to shut down that ECU lineup. I was dead wrong. That jungle was crazy, and I think that was the biggest difference there was how well those fans got into the game early, and it was right from the bat, getting out there, getting after that guy, getting after Hansen. I think that got in his head a little bit, and then those batters just fed off of it, and they were excited. The pirate hat is a cool little tradition I didn't notice before, so as much as I have been hating on ECU all year, I am very happy to see that they came out and played ball for that Super to start. So any other notes on this one, guys? AJ?
I think it's going to be more of the same today from the crowd, from that lineup. It's going to be room two.
Yeah. Jake, you got anything on this one? Anything?
It almost felt like 80s LSU, with the three letters, the colors, kind of the fence in the background. Definitely had some strong LSU vibes. And LSU fans, I guess if you're squinting a little bit, it feels like an LSU series. But other than that, the jungle's going to be rocking again.
If ECU somehow comes out with gold championship uniforms on today, then I will shut down the TV. That's it. They are LSU 2.0 of the 2000s here. All right, getting to the next game here. I know this one hurt you a little bit, Jake. Oklahoma 5-4 over Vautech. Vautech did not look like the offensive powerhouse we've been waiting for. They've been crushing the ball, and then now all of a sudden, now they can't hit. Tell me what's wrong with Vautech there, Jake.
It just felt like they kind of looked a little lost at the plate, that maybe, the moment was too big for them. It is the first kind of super regional host that they've ever had. They really haven't gone very deep. And it seemed like it took them a long time to kind of get going. It almost felt like those Cowboys playoff series when they had Dak, where they would, did not start going until the third. But I think as a Virginia Tech fan, I feel really good today because they play just about as bad of a game as they can play. And they really only lost by one. And it took really a diving catch to kind of seal that game too as well. But, they got to get the strikeouts down. They had 12 strikeouts last night. And I do kind of feel like, they're going to come back and win today. And then, game 3 gets wild. Anything can happen.
Yeah, and looking at it, pitching performance, AJ, I don't think that they can match that. Bennett goes 7 innings, 8 hits, 1 run, 8 Ks, and then Michael comes in with 2 perfect innings of 4 strikeouts. So, 12 strikeouts total for Vautech. Being Oklahoma, what is the key for them to get into today's game and stay ahead?
I mean, well, they needed to win yesterday. That was their two guys on the mound were the only people in the roster with an ERA that starts with 3. Everyone else is mid-4s or above. Yeah. So they needed to win yesterday. That was the best pitching they have to offer. I think they're just going to need to hope and pray that someone can step up and try to recreate that performance today, because the rest of the series is heavily in Vautech's favor.
Absolutely. And, Vautech having the 2 long balls from Hurley and Jones, they tried to stay in that game with the home runs. They really didn't do anything else, though. The team struggled. Their starter comes out and throws 1 inning and gives up 3 earned runs there early and gets in trouble in the second inning, gets pulled. Jake, if you're Vautech, how do they turn the ship around? Is it hitting? Is it pitching? Is it defense? What are they doing here?
You got to have Hack go deep. He's got to go 5-6 innings. He has started to kind of turn into the ace. But the flip side of that is, since they yanked Griffin Green so early, he only threw 25 pitches. He can almost come back out of the bullpen in game 2 or 3 because he got pulled so early. So there was kind of some I guess strategy there. But I do feel really good about Virginia Tech. Sorry if you hear dog barking. Because they took all of Oklahoma's haymakers, and it almost felt like OU was, the first game means so much. So they almost kind of killed their bullpen to try and get there. But yeah, other than the 2 home runs, they had 8 of their 9 starters strike out. That's got to change for Virginia Tech going forward. And I think it was more of an anomaly as well.
Yeah, I wanted to know more about that Green when they pulled him early. I was wondering if they're trying to set him up for like a Sunday comeback, see if he can come down and get some innings down late for them. Maybe that's what their plan was. Maybe he just didn't have his stuff. Maybe he had something else going on, but that was not the Green that we were looking for to start in the first game of a Super there for them. Oklahoma moving forward, how do they stay in this, AJ? How do they just hit? Do they have to stay? I mean, we knew that the pitching had to win for them game 1. How do they win 2 and 3?
Offense. They're going to have to put up runs. The pitching staff's not going to hold Virginia Tech to 4. They need an explosion to win today.
Yeah, and the bullpen really saved Vautech and kept them in that ball game after they got down early. Yeah. If I'm Oklahoma, I'm a little bit nervous. I'm glad that I got through some of their pitching, but I'm nervous in the fact that we didn't score hardly any more runs after that, getting that early offensive production and then scoring no more. They got to really put their foot on the gas pedal and get after the offense and really get some runs going. Like I said, well, I think we all agree that they have the worst staff moving forward here. Pitching-wise, they do not have the starting pitching to match Vautech. I think Vautech comes out today. I think Virginia Tech comes in and just blows the doors off today. But Game 3 is going to be interesting with both teams missing a lot of pitching by then. So I agree. I think it's offense for Oklahoma. I think it's offense for Vautech for the rest of the way also. So I think we're going to see a lot of runs in this series. Moving on to the next one, we had Notre Dame and Tennessee. Who had this one? This is just interesting. AJ, I'll let you start with this one. Notre Dame wins 8-6 versus Tennessee. Tennessee did not look like the Tennessee we've seen for the last few months.
No, and I think if there's one thing we've seen, it's that Tennessee starting over the past 2 weeks are unbeatable. Yeah. We have seen that they can give up the long ball. They can give up runs. That ballpark plays small for them too when they're on the mound. And we saw that yesterday. Notre Dame's not a power hitting team, and they hit
4 home runs,
3 or 4 home runs. 4 home runs. And it was, it's, if you play in a small ballpark, that's going to happen.
Yeah, like you said, Blake Tidwell, he struggled 3 innings pitched, 7 hits, 5 earned runs. That's not typical of, Tennessee's starting pitching. They're going to go today. They got to get a better start, but they have Dollander has been struggling also. So it's not like This is just a one starter thing. He's coming in after a couple bad starts. So I don't know what they're going to do there, but they do have enough pitching, I think, to get through. Hey, Jake, let's talk about the ejection. Let's get into that right away so we can get into this so that we can tell Tennessee's pitching coach is done for at least the next 2 games and possibly a third without appeal. And, they're missing now one of their best hitters. What do they do after this ejection? Does that get them fired up? Does this make their season in jeopardy today?
I'm actually going to go with the second one. It did kind of feel like it was not the same Tennessee that we had saw kind of with the swagger, that no lead was too big. I mean, I think it was Ortega when he hit the home run. He had the jacket on for maybe 10 seconds, and it almost looked like he was just like he got drafted by the Lions or something, and he had to wear the hat. It definitely didn't look like the Tennessee that we saw. They came out flat. It looked like they just thought that they were going to roll in and win. And Notre Dame has that chip on their shoulder 2 years in a row rolling in, getting probably the toughest super back-to-back from last year and this year. So, I mean, I think Notre Dame really has something to prove. And if you're Tennessee, you got to figure something out. It felt very flat at Lindsey Nelson, and I think it's going to be more of the same today. The ejection didn't really fire Tennessee up. They kind of just bitched about it seemed like.
Yeah, I was really surprised by the Tennessee fans and the faithful trying to stick up for their guys, but Gilbert was definitely in the wrong. He definitely shouldn't have done what he did. He stepped over the lines. It hurts them that he's suspended for today's game. I think that is the unfortunate side of being ejected in a baseball game is that you're suspended for the next game. So, his leadership, his ability to with the left-hand stick, that hurts them a lot, I think. Pitching coach, I think they can get over that. Anderson, that sucks not having your pitching coach there. There's been instances where teams lose their pitching coach for whatever reason, health issues, whatever, during the postseason. It's not the end of the world. They know the rest of their staff. They're okay to go there. But when you're looking at this overall, the 4 home runs by Notre Dame outslugs Tennessee in their own ballpark. If you're Tennessee, Lipscomb did everything he could. He had a home run, 3 RBIs. He was trying to carry his guys, being that leader. AJ, if you're looking at that, how do they come back today? Is it the arm? Are you looking at, or are you looking for a bat to get them alive?
I mean, you can't go 1 for 10 with runners in scoring position. That's where you lost the game. And you only had, 7 hits? You put up 6 runs on 7 hits. That's a good ratio. Yeah. But you also got walked, I think it was 7 times. You had base runners. It wasn't like they were keeping you off the bases. They just didn't take advantage of their opportunities. And there's nothing, you can say umpiring affected whatever, but that was a consistently low zone across the board. And I saw the umpire after the game said that he actually warned Drew Gilbert for arguing balls and strikes when he was running in from center field. He was arguing calls. Yeah. So he was warned 2 innings prior, and he apologized and said, I just get excited. And then, you can't, there are 2 magical words. One of them is the F word, and one of them is you. The second you start saying you to an umpire, that's, you can't say either one of those. So
no, you can get away with a lot. Those guys are professionals. They can take a lot. And then the pitching coach Anderson coming out of the dugout, that's what got him ejected immediately. That you can see the base umpire come screaming in, just like gone.
And that's just the letter of the law. Like assistant coaches can't come out of the dugout.
Yeah. And it's an emotional thing. This is an emotional team. This Tennessee team has played on a lot of highs and a lot of emotion this whole season, and seeing that, I think if I'm a Tennessee fan today, I'm feeling okay. I'm still feeling okay. I think that they're still the better team over Notre Dame. I think they still come out here. Notre Dame didn't have exceptional pitching, but they got, some good strike calls. They had issues with that Tennessee team. The only hit that they had with runners in scoring position was that Lipscomb double. That was it for Tennessee. They didn't. Everything else was solo home runs. If you're Notre Dame, Jake, how do they stay in this? Because they're not going to be able to hit 4 home runs every day.
Yeah, I think they have to do it with good pitching. I think it's sneaky good pitching. I don't think they're going to shut down this Tennessee lineup again today. They just have too many togs. But they have to do just enough to win, and they really do have to come out and punch Tennessee in the mouth again like they did. I think that was the big key, is that they got up early and that they really kind of never let Tennessee get back into the game.
Yeah, I think that them being out there, and they, Notre Dame used a lot of their good pitching, though. They used their good bullpen guys. They used their best. They wanted to get that game won after they were up, so they had to figure that one out and stay ahead. I think Tennessee just needs to come out and hit the ball like they have been all season at home here. I think that they don't really have any issues. I think that I picked Tennessee here to win game 2. I still have them winning the series, but that was very interesting to see Notre Dame come out and punch the big dogs right in the mouth. So that was good to see.
Yeah, I mean, Notre Dame has John Michael Bertrand going tonight, who is all ACC pitcher. That's their ace.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I was just saying bullpen. They used most of their bullpen, good arms in the bullpen. But, yeah, they got their ace going today. So this is power on power here. And if you're Tennessee, you got to step up. One other side note here, we can talk about Notre Dame a little bit. Link Jarrett, I know he's been connected to a lot of jobs out there right now, with the Florida State job coming open, with Martin Jr. getting fired there. I'll ask you first, AJ. Do you think this is a job that Link talks about maybe going to? I personally think he's going to Florida State.
So I was leaning Clemson, just because I think he's taken Notre Dame almost as far as they can go. Again, I think they have a roster that can get to Omaha but not really make much noise, and to do that at Notre Dame is beyond impressive.
Yep.
And so I was locked in on him probably going to Clemson, but when that Florida State job opened, I was like, they got rid of him. They got rid of Mike Martin Jr. to hire Link Jarrett.
Yeah.
So I think he's going there.
It definitely feels that way. Jacob, how do you feel there on Link Jarrett? Where do you think he's going? Do you think he's going Clemson, Florida State, or stays at Notre Dame?
I don't think he stays at Notre Dame. I was thinking Florida State too as well. I mean, he's kind of taken Notre Dame as far as they can. And I don't think Notre Dame cares about baseball as much as they care about football. They do almost feel like they're kind of subpar in the ACC, and they just have a real good coach that's kind of punching above. But yeah, I think if you're a Notre Dame fan, all 12 of their baseball fans, I guess, start looking for a good new coach.
Yeah, and it's not a shot at Notre Dame necessarily, but they play in South Bend, Indiana. Nobody wants to be there. It's cold.
Their stadium's not very good.
It's a bad stadium. It's it's a tough conference. If you're staying in the ACC, you might as well go take a good team from the ACC. So I don't know. I think he's gone. I think Florida State. I think they had in their mindset that Notre Dame was going to lose this series and they were going to hire him directly before Omaha. So I don't know. That's where my thoughts are on that. But yeah, I think it's very interesting to see. I got to say, Link Jarrett did a great job deflecting the questions, talking about, hey, I'm here with my guys right now. This is Notre Dame versus Tennessee. If you don't have questions about that, move on. So
it does kind of feel like Tony V from last year too, where I feel like if they go deep and they go to Omaha, he'll stay. Kind of like Tony V with A&M and LSU. But if they lose this week to Tennessee, especially kind of in this fashion where they lose the next 2, I think it'll be a very, very quick kind of slosh type hire where he's as good as gone.
I have a hard time seeing him stay at all. Even if they go to Omaha, I don't think he stays at Notre Dame. I just think that Florida State job is one of those jobs that if you get offered it, it's hard to turn down, because that's just a great job. You're always going to have money down there in Florida State. They care about baseball. It's a big thing, and you can play all the time. It's always nice weather. So I think that's a tough one to turn down.
Yeah, and I think it's perfect natural transition time. I think they have one starter who's not a senior and he's a junior. So it just seems like a natural parting point where if he's going to move on, he did it with his guys, and now he's taking the next step.
Exactly. The last 2 years, last year and this year, that's his resume. That's how he built a team. He got them ready. He got them to the point where they're at. It's a good time to split with those guys and be okay with it. Moving on to another game though, here we got Louisville and A&M, which felt like forever last night. Jake, we know you were all invested on that A&M. Claunch walks it off with an RBI single, the ex-Beaver, so that was exciting for Beaver Nation. Also was cheering for him. Jake, what did you see the most from that game, and what do you want to see going forward?
It felt like a very un-2022 A&M game. They did it with pitching. They did it with defense. They had the 2 errors, but they really weren't that game-changing at all. and they looked really good in the field aside from, some PFPs and stuff like that. But no clutch hitting. So if you're an A&M fan, you have to feel really, really good today. The 3-4-5 guys only got one hit. They left, I think, over 20 guys on base, bases loaded in 5 innings. You have to feel really good. And Louisville used a ton of their pitching. They rolled out 7 guys. So just from a film standpoint, they're going to have a lot of, what the breaking balls were looking like and stuff like that. But A&M, I think they even win today. I know it's very, very tough to sweep in supers. They have Micah Dallas going. He's been really good. And Louisville, I just don't think has the pitching. They killed their bullpen trying to win that game.
Yeah, Louisville was up early in that game, and they just never could, sink that killing blow yesterday. They had runners on scoring position in 5 of 9 innings, and they could not get those guys in. AJ, being a Louisville fan, I was surprised seeing how many Louisville fans were actually at the ballpark. What do we have for Louisville going forward here?
I mean, I think they're going to hope that their offense shows up today and gives them a chance to rest their bullpen arms.
Yeah.
Because they don't have – I mean, they threw their guys yesterday to try to stay in that game. They had their All-American closer throw 40 or 39 pitches. Like, he's not coming back tomorrow. That you can't ask him of that. So it's going to be tough for them. That's kind of the reason I picked against Louisville in this super was I just don't think they had the bullpen depth, and all it takes is one longer game or one rough start and you're 6 or 7 arms deep. And if you don't have 6 or 7 arms, you're in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah. And, Louisville was looking at that. They're just going to kick themselves for not taking advantage of those chances and opportunities earlier in that game. They really could have put away A&M early in that, and then they didn't, and A&M just kept hanging around. And then Thompson hits that 2-run home run, and that really turned the tide and making it a tie ball game. Everybody thought that it was robbed. Yeah, I thought it was robbed live. It looked like he got up and got that ball, and then he looked at his teammate and shook his head no, and it was like, oh, that's it. That's, tie ball game. The bubbles were going. But that was really not as crazy as an atmosphere as I was thinking. Jake, did the fans just not really get up because it was late? Did they not get up because it was a bad ball game? Like, that A&M fans just didn't seem like they really got into it until the Thompson home run. It really felt pretty dead in that ballpark.
Yeah, and they did a very good job, I felt like, of almost extinguishing the fires because it was really loud early on, and then they had the 3-run second, and it just kind of gradually went down. But, I think that was a good job on Louisville's part to kind of do away with the bubbles, the ball fives and stuff like that. The moment never really got too big for them, except kind of towards the end as they got in, which you'd think their closer would be the guy who would be able to kind of extinguish the fires. But it did kind of feel like, I'm going to be a little biased, but that in the jungle felt like the just loudest environments, and especially there at the end. It was a long, long game. There were a lot of, missed opportunities. So it almost felt like it was A&M just like, oh, they're going to blow it again.
Yeah, and, you look at Louisville, they scored so many runs in that regional last weekend, and then to come out pretty flat, getting only 4 and not getting the key opportunities there. I think that this bodes well for A&M moving forward. I think A&M looks good in this series from now on. But, yeah, it's sad for
walks,
Louisville.
too. Louisville's got to get rid of those walks. I mean, the zone
too
was a
many
little
free bases.
small. I will say that. It was a little small on both sides. There were a couple pitches where I felt like, they should have been strikes, but they were walking so many guys. That's what I think took – and then they were picking them off.
Yeah. I will say, though, that the umpiring I really felt was mostly consistent. It was just, some zones were a little different and a little smaller. And, you got umpires traveling from all over the country, so it's probably different for these guys never seen them before. But I will say that the umpiring really felt pretty consistent.
It was a good umpired game. It was very consistently umpired.
Yeah, and
that's all you're asking for. The one game that looked kind of iffy was that ECU strike zone, ECU Texas game. That umpire seemed a little inconsistent with where the outside corner was.
I was going to say the outer half there seemed like it was moving a little bit every single inning, but yeah.
And outside of that, I completely agree. It was all you can ask for as a hitter and a pitcher is consistency. Yeah, and I think the other 3 games had that in spades.
Yeah. If you set me up even like we were talking about the Notre game, Notre Dame, Tennessee was a little low in the zone, but he was calling it for both teams all day. So, like, if you're a pitcher, you love it. You live down there. Yep. If you're a hitter, you got to make an adjustment and start hitting that pitch or fouling it off and do something with it. So, all right. Preview for today, guys. We got 8 freaking super regional games. I am very pumped for these. Starting off this morning, 11 a.m. Central Time, Arkansas, UNC. AJ, I'm going to start with you here on this one. What do we like to see in this one here?
I mean, I'm excited to watch Vance Honeycutt on the big stage. I think he's arguably the best freshman outfielder in the country.
Yeah.
And some people, unless you watched the Chapel Hill Regional last weekend, you might not know who he is yet. And he is a force to be reckoned with in center field and at the plate. I mean, what he can do on a baseball field is electric. So I legitimately think that if it wasn't for, maybe some of the Tennessee guys, his offensive numbers as a freshman would be pumped up a lot more. And he's the reason they're hosting this right now. He's carried that team for when they were down. So I'm excited to see, Caden Wallace and the big boys, the names they know, the Robert Moores match up against the Vance Honeycutts and who's going to be here next.
Yeah, no, I think that he is probably the most athletic freshman in the country. And, I say that in full well knowing that I watched Travis Bazzana play all year for the Beavers, who played center field and second base. But Honeycutt is a freak on the defense. Watching him rob home runs and move around there, he is just so smooth. If it wasn't for Bradfield Jr., you'd probably think that he might have been the best center fielder in the country this year. I know that Worrell probably at ECU is going to fight me for that too as well. But I think that it's good, and we'll just figure it out. Jake, what do you got for UNC Arkansas?
I'm really excited to see the rental player, Michael Turner. He looked like the best player in the country last weekend, and I'm all here for the smoke. It's going to be a very, very high-scoring game. We talk all the time about, bullpen games in Game 3. This is going to be a 2-game bullpen game. I'm looking down at some of these guys that Arkansas has and UNC has, and it's going to be a tough lineup to try and get through. That's going to be a very tall task. The only thing is I wish this game was in Arkansas. UNC, I feel like, doesn't going to have the environment that Arkansas has with the hog pen. That's kind of my only thing with this. But as a big college baseball fan, I'm excited for this one. It's a great preview.
Absolutely. And, what I look for in this one is I look for the long ball for Arkansas. So they were 21st in home runs, and UNC was like 290th in allowing the long ball. And at that ballpark in UNC, I mean, I feel like the fans are not going to be as excited as they would be in Arkansas. I think Arkansas travels well. I'd really like to see what that fan mix looks like up there. But I got all Arkansas here. I think that they are the better team coming into this. Like we talked about, Big Bob Moore, I think Wallace, and then Turner. Those guys, if they start going with the bats, they get home runs. I think that's the turning tide there for Arkansas. I think that Dave Van Horn coaches his teams very well. I think that the Fox magic of retiring that jersey number is over for UNC here. Going to the next one here, we got East Carolina and Texas. That's at noon. Of course, East Carolina's up 1-0 here. Jake, if you're Texas, how do you get back into this? Can you win this one? Do you have Texas winning this one?
I do. I do have them coming back winning the second game too as well. You have to get a good outing from somebody. You have to get 4 or 5 innings out of them. And you just got to keep it close if you're Texas. I feel like they've played in so many tough games this year that I do kind of feel like, as long as it's close and they, don't have a diving stop at third, I think it's a very different game yesterday. And they do have to come out and quiet the jungle a little bit because I do kind of think that it was, just a gauntlet onslaught of everything. And it seemed like the moment kind of got a little too big for them.
Yeah, if I'm looking at this as a Texas fan, you got to get going early in that game. You guys got to get the bats going and get that crowd silenced a little bit because if it starts off hot for ECU again, watch out because you're in a bad spot. AJ, who you got in this one today?
I mean, I don't think I've ever picked Texas yet. So, I just, the environment seemed to overwhelm them yesterday. We saw it have a direct impact on the game with the home run get knocked over the wall.
Yeah.
I think if you thought yesterday was wild, wait until you see today. Those fans knowing that they can clinch a College World Series berth for the first time in history. I mean, I have friends who were at the game who were texting me, what inning is it? Because it was so crowded they couldn't see the field. And just absurd stuff.
Yeah, so and that was a Friday. That was a Friday morning.
I was saying they were working, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said. Today, all those fans are off. They're going to be down there. I think that ballpark is even more packed in there. I think it's going to be just insane when we talk about this. So, yeah, we're going to just get really crazy into that one. So I'm excited. I think Texas wins this game. Welcome in, Noah.
Right on cue.
We were just talking about East Carolina and Texas, if you want to give us anything on that one.
Well, East Carolina's a wagon. I had so much fun watching yesterday's game while I was at work. Just at first, I was mad at the NCAA for kind of screwing them out of a night game, but they gave us a great little appetizer for Super Regional weekend, and I'm glad we got to see it with that raucous crowd there Friday at noon, and they brought that crowd in.
Yeah, that's what we were just talking about. I think that it's going to be even crazier today. This is a Saturday at 11 a.m., so it's going to be noon there on the East Coast. That's going to be bonkers. Those people are going to be just going crazy. I imagine if I'm them right now, they're tailgating already. I believe they're out there in the parking lot getting ready for this game. So
you imply they went home.
Yeah.
Probably just stayed out there. They're probably still looking for that Ivan Melendez home run ball, actually. But yeah, I got Texas today. I think that they do come back. I think that they make this a game 3. More or less just from a fan standpoint, I'd love to see this game go game 3 because I want to see more of this baseball down there in East Carolina. So I'm excited for that one. The next game we got is Vatech in Oklahoma. Oklahoma is obviously up 1-0 after that 5-4 victory. Jake, Vatech, what do they do? I know you got Vatech winning this series.
I'm going very deep. I think I have them even in the finals of College World Series. They got to get a good outing from Hack. I think this is the game that if they can get through today, they'll feel very good about a game 3, but Hack's got to do 1 or 2 runs very, very, very early on. They can't let OU come out and punch them in the mouth again. And if you're OU, get to that bullpen because they saw a lot of it yesterday from VT.
Yeah, I think that Vatech has to stay in this game, and I think it's hitting. I think that's how they just push the envelope here. They got to stay on the offense, get that hammer going. I want to see if we can break that one here and maybe we can get into a third hammer. Yeah, get into another hammer down. Noah, what do you got in this Vatech Oklahoma game today?
Yeah, I was all over Oklahoma to kind of win this Super Regional, but I don't see them sweeping. So I got to go Virginia Tech today, and I think it's kind of an easy pick. It's going to be hard to keep that offense down, and they were down yesterday. They're going to come up big today. They're going to kind of gain that chip on their shoulder that Oklahoma's had all postseason. Game 3, if we get one, is going to be really, really exciting.
Yeah, I more or less, I just keep looking at these going, man, I just want more baseball. I want to keep seeing these guys play. I don't want either one of these teams to go home here, but I do think Vatech wins with the offense today. AJ, what do you got there in that one?
I have Virginia Tech winning. I just think Oklahoma, that was probably the most opportunistic offense I've seen in a long time. They scored their first 3 runs off of 2 walks and a hit by a pitch is how those guys got on base. Yeah. And then 2 out RBI singles. Yeah. You love 2 out RBIs, but you can't count on them. And then they had a 2 out double and then a single and then a 2 out single and then a 3-2 count ball hit in the gap that ended up being a single and they scored. That's their 5 runs. It was insanely opportunistic. I just think you can't count on that for back-to-back games, and you can't count on Virginia Tech to score 4 runs again. They're going to put up double digits.
Yeah, and I think if you're an Oklahoma fan, you are timid about your excitement because that was nice to see you guys go out and get that first game. But Bennett was the reason. That guy was outstanding shutting down that Virginia Tech lineup. He's not coming back this weekend, folks. He's not going to be throwing anymore this weekend. He burned up his whole arm. I would be shocked to see him come back and throw on Sunday. But they're not getting him back. So Oklahoma's going to have to find a way to get some runs going, get the sticks moving. They're going to have to out-hit Virginia Tech. And I don't think it's today. I think they're going to have to come out Sunday and out-hit Virginia Tech. So I think we're moving on to the third game there. Tennessee and Notre Dame. Tennessee has to do something. Noah, we've already rant and raved about this one. What does Tennessee do to get back in this game, and do you have Tennessee getting back in this game?
I have Tennessee winning this one. I think they're fired up, whether in a good way or a bad way. I think they're going to want to get their guy Gilbert back for a game 3. And not to get too far ahead of ourselves, but imagine Drew Gilbert with that extra I want to play kind of situation. So if they can get into a game 3, then you have to feel really good about Tennessee kind of getting back in the groove of things, but they have to do it today. Obviously, if they lose, they're done. And you can just kind of imagine how hard that would be on those fans and that team. Just it's gone that quickly. And a lot of people are going to eat that up on Twitter if it happens. So there are going to be a lot of eyes on that one if Notre Dame has a lead at any point.
Yeah, like AJ mentioned, Notre Dame has their ace going today. I think that Tennessee comes back. I'm also going to go out there and say I think Dickey hits a home run if he is in the starting lineup for that Drew Gilbert. I like him being in that line. I don't think that he's not afraid of the pressure around him. AJ, who you got in this one?
I got Notre Dame. It's their perfect scenario. They were trying to just stay in game one, and they not only stayed in it, they won it. And they got their ace going game two. This is how they drew up the series. This is how they position they want to be in. Tennessee's focused on everything except the game. They're focused on the umpire. They're focused on not having their pitching coach in the dugout. They lost, Drew Gilbert for a game, who's not only their center fielder and 4-hole hitter, but like the clubhouse guy for them. He is the spirit of that team. And to not even have him in the dugout for a game it's going to change how that team looks. They can replace his production with the talent in that lineup, but he is more valuable than his numbers say. Yeah. I think we're going to see a Tennessee team that's going to try to push too hard, going to try to make things happen, and that's not them. And we're going to see them go home.
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, Trey Lipscomb is probably their leader. He's their guy. But then when you look at outfield and you look at how the fire goes, it's Gilbert. Gilbert's their fire. He's the guy that gets the spirits up. He's the guy that gets them fired up and ready to go. Jake, what do you got in this one here today?
I have Notre Dame too as well. They're almost playing with house money today. They have nothing to lose. I think that's a very dangerous team, and especially in baseball when you have nothing to lose. They played very, very loose yesterday. For as good as Tennessee has been, the moment really didn't seem too big for Notre Dame. They almost felt like they were the number one seed. I do think Tennessee's going to come out and press a little hard. They're probably going to kill their bullpen a little bit today. And if they do win, I think even Notre Dame's set up for the game 3. It's just so tough to come back after a game 1. And I think the curse of the number 1 seed lives on. Tennessee, get them out of here.
Yeah, let's see. I got Tennessee. So I think Tennessee wins this one. I think Tennessee comes out on fire. I think that they're ready to go. Let's get into the next one here. The A&M and Louisville.
We can skip this one too, by the way.
You want to skip the A&M?
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
You're too afraid of this one here? Well,
fades,
you're diving in first here, Jake. How does A&M win this game? And I know you want them in.
I think they got to get clutch hitting today. I think Micah Dallas is almost due for a bad start because he has been so good the last couple weeks. So they got to come out, get 7, 8, 9 runs. They got to get it early. They got to get the fans into the game because I'm really not too sure if they can deal with another 5-6 hour game.
No,
but that's gonna be the key. Louisville's season's gonna be on the line tomorrow. They're gonna come today. They're gonna come out with just about everything that they have. They don't want to go home. They played in 3 elimination games last weekend, so they can win when their back's against the wall. I think they win today. Actually, the Cards do.
Absolutely. AJ, who you got in this A&M Louisville series?
I have A&M, and I think it's a sweep. And I think the game goes about the same amount of time, but it's 14-14 instead of 4-4 for the majority of it. I mean, it is going to be an absolute slugfest. I see both teams just trying to hit for their lives. I don't think you can keep either offense quiet for 2 games in a row. I think we're going to see, fly balls hit the left field that end up going off that building over there. So it's going to be fun to watch.
Mid-afternoon game there. I think that we're going to see bubbles going all over the field. I got A&M. Noah, who you got today?
Yeah, I've got 2 teams punching their ticket to Omaha today, and it's ECU and Texas A&M. I just think that walk-off last night, that's the kind of momentum swing you need in a super regional kind of setting. They're going to take care of business at home. I think they're a little bit better set up. Like Jake said earlier, they used a lot of pitching. Louisville did, so give me A&M.
Absolutely. I think it's all A&M here. I think Louisville blew their chance last night. So, that after blowing through your bullpen and not scoring with guys in running position and being at A&M now, I think
no, they're gonna lose today. You can't.
I don't know if that's wishful thinking to go see a game 3, or is that just because you just don't have faith in them? Everybody else has faith in your A&M team.
I'm like Kendall Rogers. I'm a proud 2%er.
All right, we're moving in here. We're going to go to Hattiesburg, Ole Miss, and USM. I believe we have a special guest that's going to be joining us right now. Possibly, Alex. We got Brad Logan joining us here, Ole Miss guy at 247 Sports. Thanks for joining us, Brad. How's it going this morning?
Really good, and thanks for having me on. And real quick, let me say this. Now, look, I know we all love college baseball. The discussion this morning is fantastic. But what I really love is good college baseball. And how great has this college baseball postseason been? Specifically, last week, we didn't think college baseball could get any better. And here comes the Stillwater Regional. And it was just great television just for your novice fan. But for folks that follow it like we do every day, how fun was that? And this postseason has been great, and I've just really enjoyed it so far.
Yeah, we had the most elimination games ever on a Monday. It was the most exciting weekend of baseball that we've seen in a very long time for college baseball. It feels like the game has leveled out quite a bit with the talent across the country. So I think that's what's brought us better baseball in these regionals. What do you like here seeing in the Ole Miss USM series here?
Well, obviously you've got two in-state teams that they really don't like each other. Now, head coach Scott Berry for Southern Miss and Ole Miss head coach Mike Bianco, a ton of respect between these two teams. The press conferences yesterday, and you could not have two better men leading programs. But I think for the fans, that's a little bit different story. You've got Southern Miss is playing with a bit of a chip on their shoulder. The team like at Ole Miss is the bigger fan base. But the game is in Hattiesburg, and this is a place that Ole Miss, although it won earlier this season, in fact, it beat the number 11 ranked Southern Miss team that I think was one of the reasons that got Ole Miss into the tournament to begin with. They've not faced a Southern Miss team in this type of environment before. We had Coach Mike Bianco in the show last week, and he talked about how excited he was going to Miami. Well, the Rebels played well down in Miami. We had him on again, and I said, Coach, what do you think about playing down in Hattiesburg? He said, we've played down there before, but we've never played a weekend series. And that was an interesting point. You look at Ole Miss playing Southern Miss, it's always been a midweek game, either on each campus or down in Pearl. This time it's a 3-game or 2-game set, depending on how it works out. But it's going to be where you see different pitchers. And then you start asking yourselves, does Southern Miss have the depth in that middle relief to hang with a team like Ole Miss that's been hitting the ball really well? The good news for Southern Miss is they're going to throw two pitchers that are two of the best I think in the country, quite frankly, and that's going to prove pivotal for them to be able to get to that game 3. I do think this thing goes to game 3. I'm not sure who comes out on top, but I think this is going to be a series to remember in the state of Mississippi for sure.
I agree. I think, today, speaking specifically of today, Tanner Hall, do you think that he has enough to stay in the game long enough against this potent Ole Miss offense?
I do. I think Hall is a terrific coach. Coach Tristan Ostrander is a great pitching coach. Coach for years under Mike Kennison at Delta State, won the national championship back in 2004. So Ostrander is a coach that's been around the state of Mississippi, has recruited really well. And honestly, gentlemen, probably the best pitching staff Southern Miss, specifically the starters, that they've ever had. So if you get Hall, can go the distance, you feel really good if you win game 1 because you come back with Waldrop, who's had a terrific campaign this year for Southern Miss. If you look at it from an Ole Miss standpoint, they hit pitchers that throw in the mid-90s that really live and die by the fastball really well. They're a fastball hitting team. It's the crafty left-handers that have the quote-unquote junk that Ole Miss has really struggled with this year. Down in Coral Gables, Ole Miss hit the ball really well. The thing about it is Arizona and Miami both threw powerful fastball pitchers, and that's what Ole Miss really thrives on here late in the season. This has been an Ole Miss team that's been really up and down. It was a team that it really had a defensive tackle against Southeast Missouri State in a home run to keep from Southeast Missouri State run ruling this team midway through the year. This team was dead in the water. There was a coaching surge. Mike Bianco was on the way out, and this team completely turned it around, sweeping LSU, sweeping Missouri, getting a big non-conference win over Mississippi State on the road, and, of course, that big non-conference game against Southern Miss that I think catapulted Ole Miss over NC State to get into the NCAA regional play. Honestly, gentlemen, this is a team that I didn't think deserved a chance, but they got a chance and they've taken advantage of it.
Yeah, they definitely have, and I think a lot of people had them on the fence. I know Noah, our at CWS 247, he had Ole Miss in. He picked them to be in. He picked them to go to a super. I don't think a lot of people around the country had that necessarily.
Nobody had that.
I know I went on the record 7 weeks ago and said USM is the best team in Mississippi. People were giving me all sorts of crap about that back then. Now it comes down to it. Now it's, put your money where your mouth is right here. This is the weekend series. I personally believe that this is the most exciting weekend series that we're going to watch. I think just with the in-state rivalry and everything going on between these two teams, it's the most fun. Who you got winning game 1, though, tonight, Brad?
I think Ole Miss wins game 1 simply because Dylan DeLucia has been so good. There have been a number of series this year that Ole Miss won only one game and lost the series. For example, Arkansas, Mississippi State, played well enough to win the series, but didn't, and they won that opening game with DeLucia. So I think Ole Miss gets game one. I think Southern gets game two with with Waldrop on the mound. He's been terrific this year. Hunter Elliott was a tabbed collegiate baseball freshman All-America this year. He's really good. Obviously Ole Miss could win game two, but I think probably Southern Miss has the edge with the Waldrop going on the mound. And then I think game three is going to be interesting because we've seen Derek Diamond get the ball. I don't think he's going to get it. I think it's all about if middle relief pitcher Josh Mallett, how many innings he pitched. He could be the starter on that third game, if possible, on Monday. You also have Jack Washburn. You also have Jack Doherty that can throw. Brandon Johnson's got to get a little more consistent as a closer role. But I think game three is going to be a game to remember. I think it goes 3 games. And honestly, gentlemen, if you pin me down, I may give Ole Miss a slight edge because of the pitching staff. But if you tell me that Southern Miss wins game 3, I would not be surprised. And I think without question, they would be the best team in the state of Mississippi. Scott Berry's been terrific. This is a game and a series that the SID department at Southern Miss normally fields about 5 to a series. They tell me it's been over 85 credential requests that they received. They've got folks sitting in the right field roofs. They've got media underneath. They've got media in the weight room. It's an insane environment. And last I checked, tickets are going anywhere in general admission that charge $60 a piece. They're going anywhere from $400 to $1,500 a book of tickets. It's insane in Hattiesburg, and I can't wait to be there tonight to check it out.
Yeah, we saw that every single super regional sold out in like the first 10 minutes everywhere across the country, which was just crazy. It means college baseball is really back with these fans. They really were dying for it, wanting these games. We have some great super matchups. Noah, did you have any questions, or AJ or Jake? You guys have any questions for him today?
Well, Brad, you have to be just absolutely, picking your job off the floor with my analysis of Ole Miss this season, having them in the super regional. And I was just so ecstatic when they played that Miami team because I've been calling Miami a fraud. I don't really know how I'm going to tie this into a question, but if you could just talk about my brilliance.
Well, obviously, followers are there for Ole Miss content. So I got hooked up with you, I think, or at least the Twitter account midway through the season. And when that came across, I thought, yeah, this needs to get to the masses because I think people are going to pounce on this. And I love rhetoric back and forth. And I've got a large following from Mississippi State as well. So they jumped on and they got a big kick out of it. And then here comes Southern Miss. So I'm a big Twitter engagement person. Let's just say that had a lot of engagement. And at the end of the day, Ole Miss is 2 wins away from you looking like one of the smartest people in the world of college baseball. And there are going to be a lot of Ole Miss fans that are going to be patting you on the back, to say the least.
Well, I've got him in Omaha, so let's keep it rolling.
So, Brad,
it's an opportunity. And this Ole Miss team and head coach Mike Bianco, like I said, they were dead in the water twice. Once against Southeast Missouri State, and then the other was when Ole Miss had, they came in with 14 conference wins. That's unheard of to make the tournament. So we thought, as we went over to Hoover, they had to get to at least 15 conference wins, which means they needed to beat Vanderbilt in the opening game. They didn't do that, and I don't think anybody had them in. I mean, you had them in, and I want to say maybe one more outlet had Ole Miss in, but nobody did. And at the end of the day, the Rebels end up getting in the tournament, and it's unbelievable. I can't believe they got in, but credit Mike Bianco. He even said, we're so excited to actually have the opportunity. Now, if you tell me that there was some politicking going on behind the scenes, that Mike Bianco is the head coach of USA Baseball, that the name across the chest, I'm not saying that helped them get in, but I'm sure not saying it didn't help them either.
Yeah, we definitely here over we had DBU out and had NC State in, and we had Ole Miss in as well because we just did not think that Dallas Baptist deserved to be in, and they had a poor showing, so we looked pretty smart there as well. AJ, you had a question for Brad?
Yeah, Brad, does it change? I saw Southern Miss just released that Waldrop's starting today for him and Hall's throwing tomorrow. Does that change your outlook?
Well,
I think it gives Ole Miss a better chance today because DeLucia on the road has been incredible.
I do too, and that surprises me. And honestly, I could play like I knew that, but I did not. That's completely new to me. So let's look at this real quick. I really anticipated Hall to go because I think Waldrop's had the better campaign this year. I'm very interested that Barry's going with Waldrop because I think that's their number one ace. And I think obviously DeLucia's their number one ace. So now I feel even stronger that if Ole Miss can get past game one, I think Ole Miss has a much bigger edge in game two. I still think I'll stick with Ole Miss in three, or give Ole Miss an edge in three. But I'm definitely intrigued by that decision. What, in your opinion, what do you think went into this? I'm genuinely curious about this. Now I'm gonna have to dig around and make some calls because I didn't see this coming.
I think it had something to do with Hall, his throwing schedule, because he pitched
Right.
in the game 7 in the regional against LSU. So I
Right.
think it was probably he threw more than he has, and he threw kind of later, so they bumped him back a day. That'd be my guess.
Yeah, could be the case, but yeah, I'm all about thinking that probably benefits Ole Miss. But look, we talked about it earlier. Hall and Waldrop, they're fantastic, and they've got a great bullpen this year. They play well at home. But here's the funny part about all this is gentlemen, you know this, but maybe not the average fan. Ole Miss didn't win a conference game for about 2 months at home. I mean, they were 0 for whatever, and they won 2 or 3 on the road. They just have not played well at home this year. And I'll be honest, they played awful at home in super regionals. And you'll know this, the only time Ole Miss and Mike Bianco have went to Omaha was in 2014. By the way, that was when they won the Louisiana Regional in Lafayette. It was an all-turf field just like this one. It was a hostile environment, very similar to what Ole Miss is going to face with Southern Miss this weekend. So, I think it actually benefits. I know it sounds crazy, but it's going to be an insane environment. I think it actually benefits Ole Miss because I think they'll thrive off of it.
Yeah, I think that crowd's going to be a lot more split than people believe. I think that the USM faithful believe that they're going to fill up those stands, but I think Ole Miss fans are going to sneak their way in somehow. I think that they're bought more tickets than people are aware of, and I think that's going to be a 50-50 split down there. I'm excited for the atmosphere down there, though. Hattiesburg has been outstanding. They were great in the regional. Looking forward to seeing this here with Ole Miss down there. Jake, you got any questions for Brad today?
Brad, I did have one. Where do you kind of put the Bianco hot seat, since it's kind of, I mean, before this run that they went on, it almost felt like it was a given that he was going to be fired.
Yeah.
Where do you kind of put it now with them going so deep in the tournament, and especially if they make it to Omaha? Do you think the fans will still kind of want him back, or do you think that'll be something where they'll be like, they still want him fired?
Yeah, you've always got a portion of any fan base with any sport that wants a coach out, and that's just kind of the way it always is. I think, honestly, it's a very layered question, and I can answer it best I can like this. After Southeast Missouri State, it's not that they wanted him out, it's that he was out, and he was gone. And then you fast forward, Ole Miss kind of gets hot. They sweep LSU, sweep Missouri. Then you start getting about 50-50. And then Ole Miss loses to Vanderbilt, and it drops back up or goes back up to about 80% that he's not going to return. And now – I don't think there's any way you can get rid of him. I don't think it really matters what happens in Hattiesburg. What Mike has done this year, in my opinion, is one of the best coaching jobs he's done with this team, with how well they played down the stretch and how well they played over the weekend. And so this team has been hot after April, and I think that the Mike Bianco meter on whether he's back or not, I think he's back as long as he wants to come back.
Well, that sounds like he's coaching Team USA. I think that he's going to have that job. I don't think he's going anywhere. I do think that it was a hot seat, but I think it's cooled down quite a bit. Getting this team this far makes a big difference there for him. Anybody else got any more questions for Brad today?
Enjoy the atmosphere. I think we're all jealous you get to be there.
Yeah.
Well,
yes, we are.
I'm really excited. Yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm down here, obviously, with Inside the Rebels and 247, and also CBS Sports and a couple of radio shows I'm going to be doing. But the main thing I'm here is basically documenting a lot of video, getting some audio as well. But I'll do my best to try to get as much as the atmosphere as I can via video, and I'll tweet a lot of that out. So I'm excited too. I'm just like you guys. I love the game. I love college baseball. I'm so excited that the sports world that maybe not be as in tune as we are to college baseball, they're going to get to see some of this regional action. And I do think today is going to be absolutely off the charts.
I agree. I think that we all here are super excited for this weekend. I think that there's just should be so much great baseball. Brad, enjoy. Thanks for coming on. Let us know how it goes, and we'll check back in with you after this weekend here, okay?
Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you. All right. That was awesome. Thanks, Brad Logan, for coming on here and talking Ole Miss and Southern Miss baseball. That one's going to be just a great series here. Do we have another guest set up here from ECU Jungle? Is he all ready to go?
We sure do.
Outstanding.
Welcome to the jungle. We got fun and games.
Welcome in. Oh, yeah, we're already tailgating and everything down there. How's it going
man,
down
that's
there?
early.
Hey, look at this. Hey, look at this scene. Just wait for the gates open.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Rolling for 2 hours, baby. We are in. Hold on. I wish I could flip the camera around and I hope can you hear my audio okay?
Yeah, we hear you.
We're great. My name is Jared. I'm a real guy. I'm not just a Twitter. Look at this happen.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Jeez.
That is outstanding. They are just getting ready to get going here.
That looks like a football tailgate almost.
Jared, what's the best food you've had today?
We got to hold up. Give me a second. Let me walk to it. Hold on. Hey, we got a whole hog barbecue. So hold on. Yeah, hey, he's been running it since last night. Hold on, I'm gonna get him on. He's taking a hey, this is live, so don't say anything stupid. Hey, hey, hold on, wait. Can you see? There he is. Hey, how long? When did you start the hog?
10 o'clock last night.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Hold on, we're gonna take it through. Hold on.
No burgers since y'all playing the cows today? No burgers?
Hold on. Wait. Sorry. Hey,
Oh, look at this.
Oh, wow.
Oh, let's go.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
We ain't playing, baby.
No, we don't play. Hey, I got kicked out of kindergarten because I wouldn't play.
Now I want y'all to make it to Omaha just so I can have some of that when I meet y'all down there.
What you think of that, baby? Sorry.
That is outstanding. What have you guys been doing down there? Just hanging out, drinking some beers, and
Well, it's funny because I didn't realize there was a game today. This is a normal.
this is just Saturday routine.
This has been one of the most exciting. Hold on. Yeah, sorry, I'm not going that way. It's been one of the most exciting things that I've ever been a part of. And true story, and that's funny. You had the Ole Miss guy before. I heard a little bit in the background. I was a football athletic trainer at Ole Miss back in from 08 to 12. So look, I'm all in on Bianco. I love the guy. I worked with baseball when I had to cover from time to time. Look, I want them to keep Bianco as long as they can because in the end, I don't want Cliff to go there, right? So, but in the end, look, man, this atmosphere we have here is, and I'm not overhyping it. This is insane. It's absolutely insane. I love it.
So you brought up Cliff Godwin. Is there a better fit for that school as a head coach? I mean, he just seems to perfectly be an East Carolina baseball head coach.
Listen, you go back and look at it, and I was in the dugout with LeClaire. So in 2000, I'm an undergrad here, and I was buddies with Cliff back in college. And no, there's nobody better for our program than Cliff Godwin. He lives, breathes it. He understands. He's close to the LeClaire family. They all love him. We all love him. Yes, he's one of our own, but it's so much more than that, man. Like, it's not even about the legacy that LeClaire left, but Cliff is setting his own precedent, right? So, yes, LeClaire was the first one to mention Omaha and all this, blah, 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 blah. But at the same time, Cliff is the one who's getting us there. This, 4 years in a row we've hosted regionals. We've been to super regionals the last 3 years. Look, he's doing everything and the thing is, he's doing it the right way. Look, it's funny. We were talking, look, and I'm not one to say we're going to Omaha and all that stuff. Look, I've said that before. But this is the most improbable team. And I truly believe that he has done his best coaching job this year with the way that we started a game below 500 in March. And then, we started off preseason ranked, 10 to 15, depending on which publication. And then we tanked. We got swept by Bryant. We lost a great pitcher. This and that and this and but look, they took the adversity and they punched it in the face. And in the end, man, why do you not want to pull for that team, right? So I think really it's been cool that, look, our fans have always been like this. And I'm not lying. Look, this isn't a normal Saturday game. Who are we kidding? But at the same time, our fan base has been this loyal and been this passionate. The difference is we just have this many people showing up now, right? I love it.
Yeah, we love seeing this. We love the college baseball. We love the fan aspect. I mean, that's the best part of our job here is when we get to meet fans also and get into this stuff. You guys have tons of people out there today. What are you expecting from today's game here? We'll get your experience pick down here.
It's going to be a dogfight, right? Texas is one of the top offenses in the country. They were preseason ranked number 1 by everybody. This is a dogfight, man. And look, but I'll say all this though. I'll take the Pirates up 1-0 at home for the season. So for the series, look, there's no question. Incredibly look, they're the most talented team on the field. I have no hesitation about that. But I like the sum of our parts to equal the talent of them. And at the same time, and I'm not overhyping it, this atmosphere has been unbelievable this postseason. Unbelievable. You see it on TV. Look, I promise you, and I'm on ECU Jungle on Twitter. I do my best to try to relay what our atmosphere is. It absolutely doesn't do it justice. I don't know how. I'm doing the best I can, but it doesn't do it. Look, I've gone back and looked at my videos. I'm like, but it wasn't even a fraction of how loud. Look, the iPhone only takes but so much noise.
Yeah, it can only handle so many decibels.
But truth be told, and ultimately, we like this account. These people are just a small microcosm. That's only maybe 6,000 people. To be honest with you, when they say 5,800 people or 5,700 people, that's false. Because if they say 6,000 or 6,200, then the fire marshal's going to get mad. You guys are laughing. No. It's a running joke around here. Like, we can't say the real number.
Got to keep it under 6K.
Look, everybody's all in. And what I was saying before, this is just a microcosm. I'm sorry, I can barely hear you. This is just a microcosm of the greater Pirate Nation. And look, we're all in. Look, we love this stuff, man. Look, like I said, this is the gates are just now about to open. This is everybody just waiting to get in.
Well, we appreciate you coming on. Thanks for showing the jungle with us, Jared. We really appreciate it. We're rooting for you. I think that almost all of us here have ECU winning in the next 2 days here. So hopefully y'all make it down there, and we'll see you down in Omaha.
Yeah, baby, I love it. Thank you, guys.
Horns down.
Horns down.
Horns down.
Hey, what the heck? Well, hooks up with me, baby.
Hooks up, horns down.
Love it. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Oh man, what a great account there. ECU Jungle at ECU Jungle. If you haven't followed it yet and you want to get into this, please go follow. They're great. Jared just taking care of us and showing us all that exciting fandom. It's exactly what we talked about earlier in the show. Those fans really have made a difference in this series, and I don't think it's going to change today. I think it's going to be more crazy today. Going into this, though, let's go back to that Ole Miss USM series. We didn't really get to talk about it because we brought in Brad Logan again at 247 Sports. Jake, what do you see in this Ole Miss USM series?
I think it's just a great showcase for the state of Mississippi. I think Ole Miss is playing a little bit with house money. I do kind of give the advantage to Southern Miss here, but it is going to go 3 series. I mean, Ole Miss should be in this game. They should, just destroy Southern Miss based off recruiting. So that's the only thing that I really see. But in terms of, who's the better team, surprisingly for, a quote unquote mid-major, I know I've said that Southern Miss isn't really a mid-major. They are the more talented team here.
Yeah, I agree. I'm taking Southern Miss because I've made my stand. I've made my bold prediction. I'm sticking with it. I do think that this is the most interesting and most fun series that we're going to watch. AJ, I'm going to let you go next so I can have Noah go last here. What do you think about this USM and Ole Miss series?
I mean, I think it's going to be a battle of Ole Miss's offense versus the starting pitchers for Southern Miss. It's strength against strength. And, if Ole Miss offense gets shut down, Southern Miss is going to win the series. If Southern Miss can knock Waldrop and Hall out of games early, Ole Miss is going to win the series easily. It's probably going to come down to a game 3 because I see, one of the starters for Southern Miss having a day, and then the offense for Ole Miss going off the other game, and then game 3 is just going to be electric. I have Southern Miss in the series just because it's a super regional. And Ole Miss tends to have a little bit of trouble with that. But, DeLucia on the mound on the road game 1, he's been fantastic. The stars might be aligning for Ole Miss to go back to Omaha.
He's really been their second half MVP. Going Waldrop here makes you think that USM really wants to win this first game in that matchup with Lucha. So, Noah, what do you got here?
Well, I'm kind of a folk hero in my my friends group chat that's all about gambling. I was ranking all these teams and how confident I am, and then I did it again in the Super Regional, and I just kind of put a big asterisk. Do not bet on this series because I have zero read. I have been all over Ole Miss, so excited that they're in a Super Regional, but this is like flipping a coin, and it's going to come down to that 10th coin flip to see who gets the edge. I don't know. I could see Ole Miss winning in 2. I could see Ole Miss in 3, Southern Miss in 2, Southern Miss in 3. It's going to be so great to see that crowd in there. I'm leaning Ole Miss in 3 because that was my original pick, but like I almost don't even want to go on record and say anything.
I know. It's such a great series. It almost feels bad when we have to pick these series. It's like I just want to watch great baseball.
Yeah.
It feels like we're going to get great baseball down here. This feels like one of the most fun atmospheres, too, in Hattiesburg. I think that the people down there have done a terrific job. We heard that they ran out of media passes. We know we tried to get some for our guys, and it was just tough. We get it. We still love you, Hattiesburg. Just remember us next year. I think I got USM, though, winning this one. I think it's in 3. I think that they go out, and I think Waldrop gets the win today. And then I think that Hall has been electric through the playoffs. I think that he struggles a little bit tomorrow. I think that lineup is just so good for Ole Miss. I think that they fire back. So I think it goes 3. I'm really excited for this one, though. Moving on to the next one, we got the late game, one of the 2 late games from the West Coast teams, Auburn versus Oregon State. AJ, I'm going to let you start with this one. What do you want to see in this Auburn versus Oregon State series?
I want to see if Sonny DeShera can keep doing that and if Auburn can keep rolling. I mean, I think that was one of the regionals where people might have been expecting, Auburn had a great regular season, but, they're finally playing quote unquote elite opponents. And they handled UCLA. UCLA looked like freshmen. Yeah. And, now you get Oregon State. And if that matchup between Sonny DeShera and Cooper Jerpy is, best on best, and we're going to see that battle take place. And I'm excited for that.
Yeah, we got rain all day right now. It's pouring rain right now, but it's supposed to stop sometime about 6 p.m. tonight. So right before the start there, Jerpy versus that lineup. I think that's the story here. Game 1. Jake, what do you want to see here in this series between Auburn and Oregon State?
I am so excited for this one. Outside of that Mississippi series, this is the one that I'm most excited for. I mean, you have all the storylines. Oregon State kind of feels like they get slighted, being the 3 seed over Stanford. Auburn, a lot of people gave them crap about hosting. They came in with a chip on their shoulder there. This is the one I'm most excited for. I think this is a coin flip game either way, especially if Auburn goes in and beats Jerpy today. It's going to be a great, great series. It's going to go 3 games. And this is going to be the complete opposite of that OU Virginia Tech series. These are going to be low scoring, grinded out, major league type feels with the at-bats and the pitching. I'm really excited for this one.
Yeah, I've noticed Auburn is leaning towards not throwing Gonzalez today. I think that that's an interesting move. They don't want him to go up against Jerpy. I think they're trying to save him for game 2 there. Noah, what do you want to see in this series here with the Auburn and OSU?
Well, I don't really know what I want to see because I think Oregon State is going to run right through them, and I don't think they're going to have a lot of problem. I want to see Cooper Jerpy go out and deal. I want to see him get run support like he should every single game, and I just want to see Oregon State beat a team that I think they should handily. A lot of people are kind of snorting the Auburn cocaine lately. I've been down on them for a few months. I just think that they are kind of the last fraud remaining of all the frauds that we've had. And
they're the A in fraud.
And the U now. I looked at the regional, and they were placed with UCLA and Florida State, 2 teams that I've also called fraudulent this season. So they really haven't impressed me yet, even though they did score a million runs in that regional. I'm excited to see them play a pitcher like Cooper Jerpy, and I have Oregon State in 2.
I got Oregon State winning this one. I think that Jerpy's too much tonight. Did you know that if he had even 4 runs of run support every game, that he would be undefeated this season? That's a nutty number. That's dumb. The fact that we can't even get him 4 runs when he starts is just crazy. The dude is electric. 155 strikeouts. I mean, he's a Golden Spikes finalist. There's only 3 of them left, and a pitcher's on the list. I think that that's all Oregon State here. I think that they have a lot to prove, though. I think Auburn is going to come out swinging, though, because they have this chip on their shoulder that they were told that they shouldn't be hosting. Then they beat up, like we said, UCLA. They beat Florida State handily.
They beat them so bad they fired their coach.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised. I want to see how Auburn handles this weather, though, and a bigger ballpark. They were playing at their home ballpark, which is a little bit smaller. Goss is a big ballpark. It's a tough ballpark to hit home runs out. Vanderbilt hit a few, but not nearly as much as they would have at their home park also. So I'm interested to see how this one goes, but I'm all Oregon State. Who you got, AJ, in the series?
I got Oregon State. I mean, I've been high on Auburn. Preseason, they were my kind of surprise team.
Yeah.
I think this is, as far as they go, great bounce back year for them. I think that's 3 out of 4 years they've been in the super regional, which is insane for that program. But I mean, I got Oregon State. I want to say in 2, but I'm going to go 3 because sometimes they just can't get their guys run support.
Agreed. Jake, what you got?
I got Oregon State in 3. I think this is going to be a knockout, grinded out kind of game. I think there's going to be a ton of bunting by Oregon State just because I think they're going to try and play to get Jerpy 3 instead of, trying to hit the ball around the yard. There's going to be a ton of bunting tonight.
Like I said, just score 4. I don't think Auburn's going to start Gonzalez tonight, so they should be able to get some run support here, hopefully. But who knows? That's just speculation from what I've read, is that Auburn does not want to start Gonzalez versus Jerpy tonight. So that's just everything I've read so far, that they're projecting him to start on Sunday. Going to the next series here, Uconn and Stanford. Now, Stanford had a scare getting out of their region of the Sunken Diamond. Sunken Diamond is not really a fan-friendly ballpark. We talked a little bit about it being because of graduation last weekend and everything else going on the West Coast. Jake, what do you want to see here in the Stanford-Uconn series?
I want to see the Stanford faithful show up. I think, especially with all these, super regional matchups and hosts and stuff like that, I think Stanford's going to be 8 of 8 in terms of atmosphere, which is such a shame because I feel like they could very easily have, one of the most electric teams. That's the only thing I really want to see from them. As far as that goes, I think if you're picking, the 16 teams left, I think the other, 15 teams are going to pick UConn. Stanford got a really, really good draw here. And I don't really see UConn. I know UConn's, I think, kind of playing above their weight class a little bit since they won the regional. I think Stanford wins in 2.
I don't have any way of UConn staying in this. I've been far on the fence saying Stanford in 2 in this one. I don't even think it's that close. Noah, we know you think Stanford's a wagon. What do you got here in this series?
Well, you took the words out of my mouth. Stanford is a wagon. Got Stanford in 2. I, of course, also had them sweeping the regional, so maybe they drop another one and give me some scares. Maybe even some more than just a scare with that 9th inning against Texas State. But, I don't think UConn has the firepower. When you look at a team that has a chip on their shoulder, you have to kind of analyze what was the chip for. And I think UConn kind of wanted to be a 2, or they were at one point projected to be a host team. Now they're down at the 3 line. So, they had that chip for like, hey, we should have been higher. The chip might be gone now. They're kind of just a team. And Stanford is good at beating teams.
Yeah, I just don't think UConn has the pitching to stay with the Stanford lineup. I think Texas State did a great job. They threw their aces, and we all had Texas State ranked high this year. So that wasn't really necessarily a surprise for us baseball fans who actually watch these games, and Texas State's a very good ball club.
And Santa Barbara, too. Santa Barbara, I think that was almost any of those Texas State or Santa Barbara, but I think they should have probably been in a different regional.
Oh, that was
I thought they were a tougher
matchup for 2-seed Stanford. Absolutely. And
I think they're going to be the only team in the country that has a tougher regional than super regional.
Yeah, because I don't think UConn's that good comparatively to what they're going to be seeing here at Stanford. AJ, what do you have in this one?
I mean, UConn is a good baseball school. Weirdly enough as that sounds, they've had a lot of teams and a lot of postseason success, but this isn't a UConn team with Matt Barnes and George Springer. It's not that level of team. It's a good team, but they're going to go play a great team at the great team's ballpark. And I think we're going to see Stanford just shut down any sort of momentum UConn tries to build. I think it's going to be a quick series. 2 games. Stanford's just the better team.
Yeah, I definitely think this is all Stanford. Pac-12 pitch of the year going tonight for Stanford. I don't think there's any way UConn stays in this series, but hey, stranger things have happened. I thought Wake Forest was going to win that regional down in College Park, and they weren't even in the finals. So weird, strange stuff here. Anything to add to any more of these games here, guys, before we get into some news for Omaha? Nothing. We're all set.
Aggies are going to lose today.
You got Aggies? I do not. I don't see that happening. But Noah, do you want to break down what we're doing down there in Omaha as we come down?
Well, there's still some stuff that's a little bit murky, but we're going to be down with Chinook Seedery. I'm sure you've seen them with Spittin' Seeds on Twitter. That we're kind of sleeping with them a little bit now. So we'll be we'll be sitting in their booth doing the weekend rotation live from there on Saturday. Is it the 18th?
Saturday, yes.
Yes, I think that's right. Yeah,
Yeah,
the
because I fly
18th.
down the 15th on Wednesday. So yeah, 16th Thursday, 17th Friday, 18th Saturday.
So we'll be there the 18th after that first day of games, and then right before the second day of games down there. It should be a lot of fun. The beauty about the first 2 days, you can see every team play. So there's going to be a whole melting pot of fan bases down there. It's going to be a great time. If you're in Omaha, feel free to stop by. I'm sure we'll keep advertising that we're going to be there. And as I tweeted out, Mark and I are willing to try just about any food you have for us too.
Let's go.
And
I'm
Jake,
excited. This is my first trip.
I'll be there Sunday.
So.
I'll be doing the
Jake's gonna join us
podcast
Sunday.
inbound on Omaha. I'll be driving up Sunday, leaving at 4:30 a.m.
Love it. Noah and I will definitely be down there. I'm going to be down there for the Thursday festivities. I believe Noah's going to join me as well. We're going to go have a or I'm going to join him. But we're going to have a freaking blast down there. It's my first trip down there, so I'm super pumped. Come join us, meet us, greet us, feed us, all the things. I'm excited.
Tell us we suck. Tell us,
Tell me why I'm so wrong and that how somehow Ole Miss beat USM and is there in Omaha now.
If Ole Miss is there, you guys are not gonna want to come here. I'm just gonna be all right.
Are you gonna get an Ole Miss jersey if they come?
I assume they'll just give me one.
As soon as Southern Miss wins that series, I'm gonna go find my post and I'm gonna go retweet it out.
Retweet it
and be like, guys, you're welcome. No, I'm excited for this one. Even we got some great games this week, and we've had a great weekend of ball already. Now we get another one this weekend. What are you most excited for this weekend, Jake?
I just did the slate of games, and I think the game threes are what I'm most excited for because there's a ton of these series that I think go game threes. I'm really excited for the Palmetto Bowl with Southern Miss and Ole Miss, ECU and Texas, everything but Stanford and Uconn. I'm really excited for that one. That one's I'm not really that excited for.
The Palmetto Bowl is South Carolina against Clemson.
Wait, hold on. Isn't it the Palmetto State? Isn't that Mississippi?
No, that's South Carolina.
Oh my gosh, they threw me off. Sorry, I apologize on my horticulture.
AJ, what are you most excited for this weekend?
I'm looking forward to a lot of game threes. I think we're going to get a lot of game threes. I think you look at almost every regional and you can see it go in 3 games. I think Stanford UConn's probably the outlier where most people have it going game 2. But I think you look at the other ones, no one would be surprised if we saw game threes. And it's going to be, not just today and tomorrow. It's going to be, Monday elimination games again. And it's going to be just a great weekend for college baseball.
Agreed. Noah, what do you got this week? What are you excited for?
Well, the 2 games I'm most excited for are in the Carolinas with North Carolina and East Carolina going. That one's going to be a great one against Arkansas for UNC. I don't know about UNC fans necessarily showing up. They did pretty well in the regional, but Arkansas fans, if they can travel in there, that's going to be just a total mess of a lot of people yelling. It's going to be great. I think that one's kind of a lock to go 3 games. Vance Honeycutt is an extraordinary player, and if Arkansas plays hot like they did in Stillwater, definitely a 3-game series. And that's another one I have little to no read on. I'm glad you guys picked that before I got here because I can't not do it. And then I'm also looking forward to East Carolina against Texas. I really badly want ECU fans to finally get over that hump and can finally get to Omaha, not just for my own selfish reasons of not having Texas fans here, but for just they're tortured and they deserve it. And that crowd is going to be so great today. I think they would be okay if it went 3 games, but I want it to end right now. I want ECU to win by 10 today.
Yeah, now I'm excited. Hopefully Jared from at ECU Jungle makes it down there. We're going to go meet him and go eat some of that freaking hog. That looked delicious. I'm excited for baseball in general. I think the baseball fans are getting exactly what they deserve with this super weekend. Like we've talked about, I think the only one that's really not that exciting is the Stanford UConn game, but it's on the same time as Oregon State, Auburn, so just tune over to Oregon State. Wave at me. I'll be at Goss down there. I'm excited to go down and go catch a super regional. So tickets down there were insane also, and they sold out in 4 minutes and 37 seconds. And so it will be exciting to see what that atmosphere is like, but I think that Goss is going to get loud like it did against Vandy, and I think it's going to be exciting. So that's my excitement for the weekend. Anything else, guys? No, we covered it all. Guys, as always, send us your questions, send us your comments. Alex, do we have any comments or questions today? I didn't ask you. I'm sorry.
I guess we don't.
No comments, no questions. All right. We will be on, let's see. Are we going to do a week show this week? Well, we'll talk about it. We're going to see if we can come up with do a Wednesday show. Well, not Wednesday. I'm flying, but you guys can do a Wednesday show. And then Saturday, we'll be back. Noah and I will be down at the Chinook Seedery doing it at the booth there. So come by live. Come visit us. We'll be set up and ready to go. Answer your questions live and meet and greet. We're going to have a blast. So thanks for coming on, guys. Great weekend of ball. Let's go.